Today, we're breaking down 10 leave now signals, what they look like, the psychology behind them, when to give grace and when to get out. I'll give real examples, quick tests you can run, and a few lines you can use to exit with your dignity intact. Jessica OS here. Welcome to the channel. Let's jump in. Number 1 is weaponized ambiguity. I'll explain. Now, have you ever noticed how some women keep you close without ever calling it what it is? She's hot on Monday, cold Thursday. Let's not rush, right? But she still wants all the boyfriend benefits. That's control. If she can keep you guessing, she can keep you chasing. And this is what it looks like. She'll say she's not ready, but gets jealous if you talk to other women. She cancels dates last minute, but wants good morning texts every day. She posts single energy online and calls you my person in private. Here's the truth. Clarity is respect. If she won't give you clarity, she doesn't respect you. A good question to ask when seeking clarity is, what are we building specifically over the next 90 days? Then be quiet. Let the answer land. Green light answers should sound something like this. I want exclusivity. Let's see each other twice a week. If it keeps working, we commit. A red light answer will sound like this. I don't like labels, or just let it flow, or why do we need to define it? If her answers confuse you more, that's your answer. Your boundary should be, well, I give commitment where there's commitment. If you want casual, I'll match your energy and move accordingly. Now, of course, there's no hard and fast rule when it comes to love. There are occasions where you must give her grace. For example, maybe it's early days in your relationship and you've only gone on 2 dates, right? A little patience is fine. She's been transparent about healing from a breakup maybe, and you agreed on a timeline. That's fair. Anything beyond that, though, just turns into stalling. 2, public disrespect. Now, the first time she makes you a punchline in front of people you respect, she's testing where your dignity ends and her entertainment begins. It could look like this. For instance, she'll correct your story mid-sentence to embarrass you. Or she jokes about your money or your height in front of friends. Or she calls you soft, broke, not man enough at a dinner table. She flirts with other guys, maybe while you're standing there, and then says, oh, relax, it's just banter. Here's the truth. Disrespect is a relationship cancer. Once contempt shows up, love will start counting down. So here's a quick self-check. I mean, would you accept similar behavior from a close friend? Would she do the same thing to her boss? If the answers are no or no way, you're not being teased, you're being lowered. So this is what you can do at the moment. Keep it calm and keep it clean. Just say, hey, we're not doing insults. If you need me, I'll be over there. Right? Then remove your attention and walk away. No lecture, no scene. You're showing self-respect without the drama. And later, when you get a chance, always emphasize your boundary. Say something like, look, earlier you joked about my money in front of my friends, and that crosses my boundaries. Make sure it doesn't happen again. If it does, I'm out. Say it once, then stop talking and watch your behavior. However, this is when you must leave fast. If the behavior repeats itself, she allows friends or family to disrespect you, laughs along, etc. Never accept a private apology for a public violation without a public correction. It doesn't matter if your chemistry is strong. Chemistry will not fix contempt. Number 3, sabotaging your purpose. So, are you with a woman who guilt trips you for working? Does she start fights the night before big meetings? Does she say, well, you love your job more than me? Or maybe she mocks your goals, your gym routine, your study time. She calls non-emergencies emergencies whenever you need to focus. The truth is, a woman who respects you protects your focus, right? If you're with one who competes with your mission, she's competing with the man that you're becoming. Now, a workaround will be to give structure a chance before you decide to walk. What do I mean? Share a weekly plan. So you can say something like, look, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 6 to 9 p.m. is time for deep work. Saturday mornings, gym errands. Friday night is ours, right? Define what emergency means clearly. So health, safety, family, not boredom, not fear of missing out, none of that stuff. You can give grace. It's important. Maybe in early days when you're both adjusting to routines, or you've been overworking and neglecting the relationship. However, you should leave quick if she mocks your ambition after you've set a clear plan. If she punishes you for saying no to last-minute hangouts. Something you could say to her is, my future won't argue with me. Since this keeps turning into a fight, I'll end it here. I'm wishing you the best. Number 4, chronic boundary pushing. Some people don't hear no, they hear try harder. When a woman keeps testing your limits after you've stated them clearly, it's not miscommunication, it's a compatibility issue and a respect issue. This is what it looks like. Maybe she forgets the same boundary every week. She minimizes it, Relax, it's not that deep. She may reframe it. If you're confident this wouldn't bother you, she punishes you for holding the line while sulking, giving you silent treatment, or withholding affection. She apologizes and then repeats it with a new excuse. Here's the rule. Boundaries are not negotiations. You don't argue for them, you enforce them, all right? Say it once, clearly, with a consequence attached. You can use this framework. When X happens, I feel Y. My boundary is Z, and if it happens again, I'll do W, right? Or, to put it in words, when you keep flirty contact with your ex, I feel the relationship isn't protected. My boundary is no romantic contact with exes. If it continues, I'll step away. You can give grace, however, when you never stated your boundary clearly. So fix that first. However, this is when you should leave quick. Maybe she mocks the boundaries you set or calls you controlling for having one. She accidentally repeats after you tied a consequence to her breaking those boundaries. She uses affection, sex, or public shaming to force compliance. You've enforced once and she escalates instead of adjusting, right? Here's one scene to picture. You've agreed on no flirty DMs. A week later, she posts a bikini reel and replies, "Thank you, babe," with hearts to a random guy. You address it calmly and she says, "You're insecure," right? And then she does it again tomorrow. That's not a misunderstanding, it's a decision. So you need to make yours. Tell her, "I'm not asking for permission to have standards. I'm telling you how I operate. If that doesn't work for you, we're not a fit." Remember, good women aren't scared of boundaries. Number 5 is what I call the Darvo flip. Now, some arguments aren't about the truth, they're more about control. Now, Darvo stands for deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. I'll explain. You raise a real concern, she denies it, attacks your character, and suddenly you're apologizing for bringing it up. The original issue would disappear and your sanity will go with it. You say, "Hey, you lied about where you were." She fires back, "Well, you're controlling, you're crazy." You bring up flirty DMs. She digs up a 6-month-old mistake of yours and makes that the topic. So here's what I want you to ask yourself. Do you leave every conflict defending your tone and not the topic? Does she add 3 new accusations every time you raise one issue? Can she repeat your concern back accurately? If not, you're being dodged and not heard. So here are a couple of rules to help you restore your sanity. What I call the 1-issue rule. We're discussing one issue at a time, and tonight is issue X. The no-shift rule. If the topic shifts or gets personal, I'm pausing this conversation and we can revisit it tomorrow. The accountability standard. Accountability sounds like this. I did X, it affected you Y, and here's how I'll change. Now, this can't always be fixed. Sometimes you just have to leave quick. And here's when. When every disagreement ends with you apologizing for bringing it up. When she uses insults, public smear posts, or recruits friends and family to gang up on you. Or maybe you set a calm boundary once, enforced it once, and the pattern escalates. You should say something like, "We have different definitions of respect and responsibility. I'm ending it here, and I wish you well." Remember, love can't grow where accountability won't live. Number 6, triangulation and orbiters. So triangulation is where she keeps other men in orbit to make you compete. Exes, work husbands, flirty besties, old flames who never leave, right? You're not dating one person, it's like you're auditioning in a crowd. It looks like this. She tells stories about how many guys won't stop DMing. She name drops another man right after a disagreement. She compares you and says, "My ex used to plan better," right? She keeps a flirty co-worker close and calls it harmless. She refuses basic transparency but demands devotion from you. The truth is, jealousy should not be a tool she uses to train your behavior. If she needs competition to stay interested, she's not ready for a committed relationship, and you need to see that. The transparency test you should use is this. Say something like, "Look, I don't date in triangles. If he's just a friend, introduce us and keep it respectful." Watch her reaction. Women with nothing to hide won't mind light and clarity. Standards that protect the relationship. No flirty DMs with friends, no private calls with exes, group settings over one-on-one hangouts with past partners, right? Social posts that honor the relationship, not bait strangers for attention. Look, you can give grace, of course. If maybe it's early, you haven't stated your standards, and she adjusts immediately. You meet the friend, he's respectful, and behavior stays clean and consistent. Maybe she removes the bait, sets clear boundaries with orbiters, and you see it hold. However, you should leave when she calls you insecure for having reasonable boundaries. If she refuses introductions or transparency, if she ramps up male attention after you've raised concerns, if you choose to offer one last chance, you can say something like, I'm not asking you to drop healthy friendships. I'm asking for a relationship that doesn't run on jealousy. If the orbiters stay, I won't. Remember, a high-value man doesn't fight for a spot in a triangle. He walks until he's the only candidate and the only choice. Number 7, intimacy as leverage. So, does your woman withhold affection to punish you after disagreements? Does she dangle intimacy as a reward if you comply? Does she say things like, oh, you should earn me back by doing X? Or maybe if you acted right? Does she become warm only when you're overgiving, apologizing, or buying her things? Is she using seduction to end hard conversations? Then nothing changes afterwards? The truth is, love asks for growth. Control asks for obedience. When intimacy turns into bargaining, you're not being loved, you're being managed. Does the affection disappear when you set boundaries? Does it return instantly you give in? Do you feel pressure to perform for closeness instead of feeling chosen? Do disagreements end with you chasing, spending, or apologizing just to get normal affection back? Then you might be in trouble. You can give grace once again if it's a new relationship or if you haven't defined your expectations yet. Remember, intimacy is abundant in healthy relationships and scarce in controlling ones. Number 8, the secret life. Privacy protects dignity. Secrecy protects options, and you need to know the difference. Now, maybe she keeps her phone face down and on do not disturb when she's around you. Passwords change overnight after a small disagreement. She deletes message threads and calls it decluttering, right? Her plans are vague. I'm out with friends, but you never learn who. The story shifts. Study group becomes coworker's birthday, becomes you're controlling for asking. She won't introduce you to her circle, or you're just a friend when you finally meet them. She posts single energy online, then demands boyfriend energy offline. When you ask for consistency, she hides behind the word privacy. Here's the truth. Honesty leaves a trail. Consistency, introductions, predictable patterns. Secrecy leaves gaps. Missing context, changing details, defensiveness, right? Now here's a quick diagnostic you can run. Ask yourself these. Do small clarifying questions turn into big fights? Have you been together for months but still don't know the names of her closest friends? Are weekends and nights the least available times with work or family as the catch-all excuse? If you mirrored her behavior, locked phone, vague plans, will she accept it? All you need to do is to ask for transparency. Say, I'm not asking for surveillance. I'm asking for transparency appropriate to a committed relationship. They're simple tests that don't cross lines. Hey, I'd like to meet some of your close friends sometime at the end of this month. The consistency test. Last night you said girls' night. Which friends were there? The reciprocity test. Would you be okay if I operated with the same level of detail you give me? You should tell her. If your life stays hidden, I'll step back. As usual, you can give grace if it's early dating and you still haven't figured out where your boundaries are concerning things like digital privacy, that kind of thing. However, you should leave when she labels every reasonable question insecure. You catch one deception and the phone locks deeper. The stories get thinner. The blames shift harder. She refuses the integration test for months. She demands visibility into your world while keeping hers in the dark. You should tell her at that point that you want a relationship built on clarity. And you're not asking to audit her. You're asking to know the life that you're committing to. Remember, a good partner keeps some privacy from the world, not from you. If the only way to feel secure is to stop asking questions, then I'm sorry, you're in a maze. It's not love. Number 9, entitled finances. She expects you to fund a lifestyle she can't sustain herself. She equates love with spending and shames you when you say no. She calls basic budgeting being cheap and then praises other men who know how to spoil a woman. Gifts are never appreciated, only measured. The truth is, a healthy woman appreciates contribution. She doesn't demand compliance. Money is a tool for the team, not a leash for the man. Ask yourself these questions. Do financial conversations turn into guilt trips or silent treatment? Do you feel pressured to impress instead of the desire to provide? Are special occasions monthly with price tags that keep rising? When you invest in your future, like debt payoff, savings, business, does she support it or does she call it excuses? Set standards early and clearly. Say, I won't finance a lifestyle that sets my future on fire. Remember, if she loves your wallet more than your vision, it might be time for you to choose your vision. And finally, the apology cycle. Now, some relationships don't grow, they actually loop. They blow up, and then there's a big apology. Sweet honeymoon, repeat. Example, she crosses a clear line. 2 peaceful weeks, same trigger, same blow up, new excuse, right? You start measuring peace in days and not months. Now, this cycle typically works on good men because you judge her by her best moments, right? Not her average behavior. Now, question to ask yourself, do apologies come with specifics or just big feelings? After apologies, do systems change? Calendar, boundaries, friends, social media, or just the tone? Do you hear, I'll do better? Or do you hear, here's the plan I've already started? Does the time between incidents get shorter? This is what real repair looks like. Ownership, I did X. Impact, it cost Y for you. The plan, here's the concrete change I've made. Verification, you notice A, B, and C are now different. Consistency, the pattern is gone for at least 90 days. Set your standard out loud. 3 repeats of the same problem is a decision and not a mistake. Now, you can give grace if this is the first offense and she fully owns it. Or maybe you both set a repair routine. Weekly check-ins, one-on-one counseling sessions, one date focused on reconnection. However, you should leave if the apology comes with blame. I'm sorry, but you made me, She performs a grand gesture instead of changing the behavior. She breaks the same boundary a 3rd time. She smears you to friends and apologizes privately, etc. It's time to tell her. 1 issue at a time. No insults, no topic shifts. Written plan and notes we both can see. A 30, 60, or 90-day check-in. If the pattern returns, the relationship ends. Now remember, apologies are words. Change is proof. If the story keeps restarting at chapter 1, you want to close that book. I know it's a lot, it's a whole lot, but come back to this video and keep watching it to remind yourself. My name is Jessica OS. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.